Welcome back, as we overview the types of electrical test procedures that are performed after a motor has been serviced, repaired, or is simply being tested for integrity. Before attempting any of these electrical tests, ensure that the motor is isolated from the main supply and adhere to the safety procedures laid down by your company and the relevant code of practice. Access to the stator windings is made in the motor's terminal box. Inside the box, we find that the ends of each winding are connected to a terminal block. A wiring diagram inside the lid of the box indicates the terminal post layout and where each winding is terminated. First, we shall test for continuity. We will do this by measuring the ohmic resistance of each winding using a reliable analog or digital multimeter. We suggest that you use an electrical checklist to sketch the diagram of connections and record the meter readings together with your comments. Begin by setting the multimeter to the low ohm setting. Check the 0 ohm calibration by shorting the probes together and noting the meter reading, which should be 0 ohms, excluding the resistance of the test leads. When using an analog type multimeter, turn the adjustment control until the meter needle lines up with the 0 ohm mark on the ohm scale. Now remove any bridging pieces or links connected between terminal posts. Then clip one of the test leads to the top left-hand post. Probe all the remaining posts, moving from left to right across the terminal block until a reading is obtained. Using the checklist, record the position of the posts and the resistance readings. Move the lead to the next post along and repeat the procedure, noting the value of the resistance measured and the position of the connected post. Do this until you have mapped all the posts. The resistance values should all be of a similar value. Readings within a 5% tolerance band indicate that the windings are balanced. A tolerance greater than 5% requires further investigation as to the cause of the imbalance. Now we move on to the insulation resistance testing procedures, and we shall discuss how to test for a breakdown in the insulation resistance between the windings, and test the insulation resistance between each winding and the frame of the motor. Ideally, the insulation resistance between each winding and between each winding and the frame should be infinite. Sometimes, however, due to overheating or moisture within the motor, the insulation breaks down, causing a burnout. Let's demonstrate how we test the insulation resistance. We begin the tests by measuring the insulation resistance between the windings. A high-voltage insulation tester, or mega, is most suitable for measuring the insulation resistance. To prepare the instrument, set the output voltage of the mega to 500 volts and select the meg-ohm range. Clip the test lead onto the post that we have called A1 and connect the other lead to B1. Press the test button and note the reading on the meg-ohm scale. It must read greater than 1 meg-ohm to be acceptable. A reading less than 1 meg-ohm indicates the possibility of a leakage path between the two windings. Now unclip the mega lead from B1 and connect it to C1. Test the insulation resistance again. The reading obtained must be greater than 1 megohm to be acceptable. Remove the test lead from A1 and connect it to B1. Once again, test the insulation resistance between the windings B1 and C1 and check that the reading is greater than 1 megohm. Now connect one of the test leads to A2 and the other lead to B2. Test the insulation resistance once again, using the same procedures until the insulation resistance between all 3 windings has been measured. Record the resistance readings and conclusions on the checklist after each measurement is taken. Now we move on to test the insulation resistance between the windings and the motor frame or earth. Begin by attaching a test lead to the frame of the motor. Then, with the other test lead, test the insulation resistance between each winding in turn. To meet acceptable standards, all the resistance readings obtained must be greater than 0,5 megohms. Record each measurement and your comments on the checklist. Any reading less than half a megohm suggests a possible insulation breakdown in the electrical system to earth. After the break, we will return to discuss the mechanical test procedures.